From the VTRN News Center, I'm Bill Trefiro.
And groove to classic hits on Rewind 1039.
Baby, I know you're asking me to stay.
All from your smartphone, tablet, or computer. No more fiddling with the dial. Just download your favorite radio app. Search for Virginia Talk Radio Network or Rewind 1039, and you're ready to go. Stay connected with your community.
Good morning. This is Kimberly McBroom in the WDBJ 7 Newsroom with our Virginia Talk Radio Network News Update.
And enjoy the music you love, anytime, anywhere.
Every move you make.
Streaming the Virginia Talk Radio Network and Rewind 1039. It's that easy. Virginia Talk Radio Network, Rewind 1039. Now streaming.
You're stepping into the fast lane on the VTRN Sports app, 93.3 FM and 1320 AM Lynchburg, or by asking Alexa or Google Home, open VTRN Sports Lynchburg. Now, take the fast lane through the topics that matter across the Commonwealth. This is the Fast Lane with Ed Lane.
And good evening, Lynchburg and the surrounding areas. Welcome to the Fast Lane Show on VTRN 93.3 FM, 1320 AM, Lynchburg. And for those in the surrounding areas or in the east, you may be knowing that, well, we're due for some snow. We are due for some snow and ice in the area. High school games are already being postponed. We've got college games being pushed up to beat the massive snowstorms because it's hard to reschedule college, unlike it is high school sports. Which is why I will remind you that UVA in Carolina supposed to stream at 1:30 p.m. on our airwaves. Saturday at 1:30 has now gone up to 11:30 a.m. start time pregame, tip-off now at noon, following Virginia Tech taking on Louisville at the KFC Yum Yum Center. That will follow right after UNC and UVA, which was supposed to be a day where Tony Bennett was going to have the court named after him. Notice past tense was. But because of the snowstorm, Virginia announced today that that ceremony has been pushed to February 21st. The home game against Miami. Either way, I'm sure it's not bugging Tony Bennett. Just like Jerry Ratcliffe said, look, I'm sure if you know Tony Bennett, he's not huge on being reminded of his accolades. He's just not that kind of guy. Jerry Ratcliffe said it better. He was never been the kind of guy to be about accolades, and I'm sure they didn't twist his arm or anything to get him to agree to have the court named after him, though he probably was hesitant a bit. But rightfully so to have the name of the court named after him in JPJ Arena, John Paul Jones. All this and more. I also realized the other day, well, this morning, as a matter of fact, when I was prepping for the show, I realized today that it's officially been a year since I joined the Fast Lane and VTRN altogether. Came in here and started as an intern, later became a sales associate and reporter, and I've had a blast since joining in. Just want to give a thanks and a shout out to Gary Burns, Ed Lane, Trey Lyle, and who runs the morning warm-up. A great show, by the way. Him and Ty Tracy do an amazing job on that show. That was a really fun show to shadow in as well. They're killing it with that game as well. But I can't believe it's already been a year since I walked through those doors and sat down with Ed and Gary and said, look, I want to be a part of this team. If you've got a place for me, I'll do whatever. Ended up becoming an intern, and now I'm a sales associate here with benefits in sports, just like you can get benefits by advertising with us. Streams don't lie. 1,400,500 total streams. That includes podcasts. And every single station here the entire year. It's huge for all the stations that we own. People are tuning in, and they can tune in when you advertise your business with us here at Virginia Talk Radio Network, because no other Lynchburg-based media does it like VTRN. I promise you. Benefits have come out for people who have advertised with us. And it's why we're grateful for members like Troslaw, for example, who get into an accident while it's snowing, sleeting, ice, whatever. I'm sure if you call Troslaw, no, I'm 100% positive if you call Troslaw, they'd be able to help. Just like Virginia Tech finally helped themselves with a quad one win yesterday. I would argue that Virginia Tech is in the boat right now, with that quad one win over Syracuse. And hey, that was not easy. It was a hard fight all the way, and then Virginia Tech starts pulling away. And with 50 seconds left, 50 seconds, you're up by 8 points. Syracuse manages to cut that deficit right down to the marble. But you know what Virginia Tech did? There was a buzzer beater in this game. It didn't change the outcome, and it didn't result in a Virginia Tech loss either. Though that was a pretty impressive buzzer beater by George, it only cut Syracuse deficit to 2. And you want to know why it only cut the deficit to 2? Because Virginia Tech finally hit free throws when it mattered. Virginia Tech went out there, got their business done. And in the Kepnom rankings, Syracuse is a quad one opponent. Therefore, Virginia Tech, after having so many potential victories swiped away from them, all their losses in the ACC being buzzer beater losses, they finally had one that went right. When Toby Lawal is healthy and he's playing, he had double last night. 16 points, 11 rebounds. He's a huge factor for this team. Even when Neo is struggling, he's a big factor for this team. I will argue, I truly think with no matter how Virginia Tech wins or loses, they are constantly proving, hey, watch out. We're going to make it close. You're going to have to either beat us at the last second or we're going to have you beat, even if it's a fight to the death. I truly think if Virginia Tech finds their way out of the first 4 out, which is what they're scheduled for right now in all bracketology. Now, some bracketologists have not updated since their victory last night over Syracuse, but a lot of them have them as the first 4 out because they do have some handy wins, but they also have some hefty losses, and it's not going to get easy for them. It's not going to get easy. I mean, you look at the schedule, you don't just play Duke at the end of January. Thank God it's at home. You got Louisville this weekend, as we discussed, which is also airing on VTRN, both this game, the Duke game, and the game in the middle, Georgia Tech at home on the 27th. Clemson on the 11th, and before that, NC State. NC State teeter-totters on quad 1, quad 2. Clemson is a quad 1. NC State just beat them, too, and we'll get more on that on the podcast exclusive with Royal Howard, the Juice Network, later today. A segment that you can listen when you go to anywhere that you listen to podcasts on the Fast Lane exclusive. Later today, because we are a half show, because we have Virginia Tech Hokie basketball against Clemson tonight. Followed by that, Golden State Warriors without Jimmy Butler taking on the Dallas Mavericks at the Mavericks right after Hokie basketball, who is also on fire right now. They're winning the games they're supposed to. Blacksburg can celebrate right now. Blacksburg can celebrate. You got to love what Mike Young is doing with this program. It's been hard for the godfather of the Commonwealth. Yes, I called him the godfather because Mike Young, no matter how tough they have it, he's managed to keep his teams together. And even despite the disappointment from last year, it could have been easy for them to fall off this year, and they didn't. They have really built a great young team here. I can't promise you they'll be a surprise winner in the ACC. I can't promise you they'll win a game in the ACC tournament, or if they'll be an at-large bid in the NCAA tournament. So they got a tough road ahead. But I promise you, Mike Young is the right man for Blacksburg in my opinion. And I promise you, if you sleep on Virginia Tech, the few games that I have been watching this year and from December, they're the only team that's beaten UVA in the ACC so far. They should be considered a threat. Why shouldn't they? Keep in mind, and we'll talk UVA here with Jacquie Franciulli here from Wahoo 247 before we cut off our half-hour show. Speaking of UVA, you got to love the culture that Ryan Odom is building down there, just to point it out. And we'll talk more about it with Jacquie here in a second. But he was on the Jim Rome show yesterday. And I just love how Ryan Odom phrases his sentences in interviews, if that makes sense. It seems like he has a sharp head on his shoulder. He knows what he's doing. He's come in here year one so far, completely changed the narrative. UVA was not on the high ropes at this time last year. To do that in 1 year, to take a UVA team who felt lost last year at this point in time, and to completely flip it around, already establishing a culture which does take time, which he told Jim Rome, look, takes time, but it's easy to establish in year one. You just got to know the right way to.
Yeah, I think it takes time, and you have to accelerate that process right away. All coaches do. We do it in different ways. We actually took a trip in August after our preseason or summer workouts and went on a trip to DC and hung out. No pressure of playing a game. Just spent time together there in DC before everybody went on their way on vacation for a couple of weeks. And we've just found different ways to do it. We have a book club that we do every year that really kind of tightens the group, and we learn from, some leadership, qualities and situations in a book called Legacy that's been really good for us over the years. And more than anything, just spending time together, both on and off the court. And, this particular group, the character is really strong. The talent is there. The positional size and skill is there on the court. And, the willingness to come in every day and work and have a good attitude has without a doubt been there as well.
Absolutely. And the attitude is present. It shows, as I'm sure our friend Jacquie will be able to tell us here soon. As Ryan Odom once told me in the first game at the post-game press conference, how he's managed to take this team, get them in the right mindset, especially when it comes to very close matchups.
And one of the other things I told the guys, even at shoot around today was we have to get teams deeper into the clock. Trust me, the fans, they will know what to do at the end. Now, we have to get them used to some of the other.
They will know what to do. And the fans, they have learned their role as they have every year at JPJ, even in the worst parts of the years. I would argue UVA and Hokie fans, even when the chips are down. I mean, you look at the football season for Virginia Tech, how down of a year that was. Lane Stadium, as always, was booked. The fans still showed. UVA has had many, many times where, even in their worst times, fans showed up. Maybe they don't fill the stadium in football like they did this year, the magical year that they had. But basketball, even against common denominator opponents, you still see the JPJ. And I'm sure Jacquie will be able to tell us all about it when she joins us on the show. We'll be right back right after this break. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to The Fast Lane with Ed Lane. I'm TJ Wilkerson. We'll be right back.
Get more on the Sheeler Motor Mile, your trusted dealer serving Southwest Virginia and surrounding areas for over 50 years. With more selection, more value, and more finance options. Plus, your trade is worth more. Shop local and save more with straightforward pricing, plus exceptional service and selection. Your search ends at the Motor Mile. Choose from over 900 quality pre-owned vehicles, plus a massive selection of new car brands in Southwest Virginia. Honda, Hyundai, Toyota, Subaru, Kia, Chevrolet, Mitsubishi, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, plus the used car superstore. 11 new car brands, 900 used vehicles at one location. Volume selling means volume pricing, and we've got more than any other dealer in the area. The Sheeler Motor Mile delivers choices. Here's the difference. Sheeler owns the finance company and makes getting approved for credit simple and easy on the Motor Mile. Flexible financing options for every budget to get you on the road fast. Get more on the Sheeler Motor Mile with a certified friendly staff and no games, no gimmicks. I-81 exit 118C in Christiansburg. Call 866-SHEELER1. Always open at Sheeler.com.
We're joined by Corey Argentino from Earthright Mid-Atlantic and Earthright Roofing. Corey, blending those two together, the roofing and the solar, how does that benefit the customer?
Well, the customer now has a trusted source, a local trusted source for solar and roofing needs. So if you've already gone solar or know somebody who needs a roof, it's a great mix. You've already had the experience with the company, you understand how we work. We're local and we have a showroom here. You can come right in and see how it works together.
You mentioned the showroom. People can come in when they speak with an Earthright consultant. How beneficial is that with a consultant that can consult on both roofing and solar?
Well, I think it's very important. And I say why people should come in the showroom. I drove 5 hours to get my dog. I know many other people have. You can drive 30 minutes or an hour to come see something before you purchase it. You can touch and feel the product, meet the team, and see how we do business.
It's an easy way to get acquainted with both Earthright Mid-Atlantic and the solar division, as well as Earthright Roofing and the ability to blend those two pieces together. Come by, see the showroom on Timberlake Road in Lynchburg, and learn more at earthright.com.
Hey, small to medium business owners, if you're frustrated with slow IT support, high costs, or paying for services you just don't use, it's time for a change. Hi, I'm Colt with We Fix Stupid Computers. We provide reliable on-site and remote support tailored for businesses just like yours. And we go beyond just fixing problems. We empower your staff with real tech knowledge so they can work smarter every day. From repairs to training to full IT support, we save you time, stress, and money. Call We Fix Stupid Computers, 434-525-8590, where smart support meets real savings.
A cool food concept sparks curiosity. What about two concepts at one restaurant? That's even better. Oliver's on Rivermont is Lynchburg's first multi-concept restaurant. Pick items from the traditional Oliver's menu, the 801 Raw Bar menu, or mix and match. And you'll appreciate the consistency of Oliver's new kitchen and serving staff. Two cool concepts in one. Only available at Oliver's on Rivermont.
Mark Dalton here with the Terry Auto Group. If you don't love your car, then you're simply just driving the wrong one. At Terry Volkswagen, Terry Subaru, Terry Auto Outlet, and the Terry Clearance Center, we've got the perfect new or used car for you. We make your car buying experience easy. Need help with imperfect credit? No problem. Our team works hard to get you approved and back on the road. Because when you shop at Terry, you drive away happy. Visit us at any of our 4 locations or online at terryautogroup.com. Terry Auto Group. You'll love our cars.
Step into the fast lane 24/7 at Trey Lyle VT and Fast Lane Ed Lane on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, back to the fast lane.
Well, weather can change things for whether you consider it the worst or maybe better off. But I can tell you what the inclement weather coming to Lynchburg and all surrounding areas did. It delayed Tony Bennett's name being put on the court against the Carolina Tar Heels at JPJ. They have moved that to Miami and have also forced me to go grocery shopping later tonight. But good news is it's a half-hour show, so I might be able to get over there before all the necessities are taken. And I'm curious what our next guest, who's been covering the Wahoos for a while, Wahoos 247, Jacquie Franciulli, if she's well prepared for the storm that lies ahead. Jacquie, can you hear me?
I can hear you. How's it going?
How's it going? Good. How about you?
I'm doing well. I'm like everybody, preparing for the snowstorm coming in this week.
Absolutely. I am as well. Unfortunately, we still get to see some basketball, but were you disappointed to hear that Tony Bennett's honoring was pushed back?
I think it was the right move, just because a lot of people would have been, scared to get back on the road for the game on Saturday. So I think it was the right move to kind of move it, because I know it's a sold out crowd. That's what was expected, but I don't think a lot of people are going to travel for the game because of fearing of traveling through that snowstorm.
Oh, absolutely. Safety and precaution here. And whether he likes it or not, the honoring will be happening either way. Tony Bennett's not a big guy on accolades. How do you feel how important is it to see his name inscribed in UVA basketball after all he's done for this program?
Well, I mean, it's important. He changed the expectation around the program. He changed what UVA is known for. He brought a national championship to Charlottesville. I mean, he did a lot for the program. I remember when he first started, it was an uphill battle. I mean, he had to kind of build it from scratch. There was no transfer portal at that time. So you had to do it the old-fashioned way of seeing development. And, at that point, I remember guys had to sit out for a year when he came to transfer. So it took a while for him to kind of put that first team, with Malcolm Brogdon and, Lemon Ferrantes and Justin Anderson, that first team that went to win the AC tournament championship. I believe it was 2014, 2015. That was the first AC tournament champion. That kind of built from there. And that was a lot. And now when you talk about Virginia basketball, you think about a winning program, a program that will always compete in ACCs and is often talked nationally. That's what Tony Bennett did.
Absolutely. And I remember I was a senior in college because UVA and Tony Bennett beat my alma mater in the first round, Gardner-Webb, of that tournament on their road to eventually becoming national champions that year. And now you look at the accomplishments, Jackie. Tony did a lot for this program, as you said. And now you look at Ryan Odom in year one. They're currently on a 5-game winning streak, back-to-back quad one wins against SMU and UVA. What seems to be the strong point about this basketball team under Ryan Odom?
I think you can argue it's the depth of this team and what the bench is able to bring. I think that's, it's kind of funny. When I covered the football team this year, I was talking about, the competitive depth and how, they're fresh in the fourth quarter because they're able to rotate players in. And I feel like that's exactly what I have to say about this UVA basketball team, because that's exactly what Ryan Odom did. I mean, Chance Mallory is the first one off the bench. He's been able to be a good spark for this Virginia team often. And you see a couple of guys coming off the bench and really helping Virginia. And I think that's been the key, is that because they play in a obviously much different pace than we probably have been accustomed in Charlottesville under Tony Bennett. So with the pace of play, they're able to come out there and stay a little more fresh. And also you have different guys for, different lineups for different situations. And Ryan Odom is a little more comfortable kind of shifting. And I was a little concerned when Jacquie White, got hurt. That was a concern that I had, that where is that shooting going to come from? Because at that moment when Jacquie got hurt, he was just hitting his stride. He was being a lot more consistent. And I was kind of concerned where that came from. Where was that going to come from? Then Malik Thomas kind of stepped up at what I thought he was going to bring to the table. Then Thomas has been having a really good conference schedule. I think over the course of the last 6 ACC games, he's averaged about 18.7 points, like 2 assists, 6.3 rebounds. So he's been kind of taking the reins there. And I think that's what Ryan Odom did, is construct a roster built with talent and off the bench, and then just guys that step up in the moments that he needs them to.
So could you argue, Jacquie Franciulli of Wahoo 247, award-winning journalist, by the way, joining us here on the Fast Lane. Jackie, could you argue that utilizing the transfer portal is all UVA really needed to get back out to competing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot easier. I wouldn't say it's a lot easier in basketball than football, but because you can really turn around a roster quickly, right? Because you're only dealing with 7, 8 guys rather than over 30 in different positions for football. So basketball, the portal will always be a little bit easier to kind of reset a roster. Now, you still have to find the good personalities and guys that gel together. That's always the big question. Can you do this? Can you merge all these personalities? And I think Ryan Odom, because of his experience in his prior stops, he knew how to do that. And obviously he's done a good job of bringing international guys. So I think that I don't think you can live in the portal. That's been my philosophy in both football and basketball. I don't think you can live in the portal.
Yeah.
But I think Ryan Odom has had that experience to kind of develop a roster and then gel that roster, because that's always been the key in any sport when you deal with the portal is, can the athletes that came in gel with the athletes that you have? In this case, there's a brand new staff, so there's not many guys that stayed, but that's kind of the question moving forward for Ryan Odom as they continue to build the roster through both high school and the portal.
We talk about the transfer portal in basketball. It's easier than football. And you look at what UVA's done in football as we switch over there real quick. You look at the portal class that's come in with the likes of Bo Prabula, for example, and Eli Holston for the quarterback position. UVA's gotten a lot of decent pickups. Do you feel like, first off, looking at the QB depth, is it a great replacement for the departures of Morris and Kalen? And what do you feel like has improved on the football team because of the portal?
Yeah, so I mean, you got to really shout out to the front office for UVA to kind of do what they do in such a short amount of time. And I think college football and the front offices they didn't have time to breathe in this new portal window where you kind of have to do everything in the span of 2 weeks. And you pretty much have to pre-evaluate these guys before they even go in the portal, right? You're watching them, watching film, be like, hey, if this guy's into the portal. I think Virginia did a really good job. I mean, you can kind of be finicky in a couple things, but when you look at what they were able to do, and I'm just starting on the quarterback position, right? They were able to get not only QB1, which is Bo Prabula from Missouri, but Eli Hosting from Pitt, and in their negotiations, they said, okay, Bo, you're going to be QB1, Eli, you're going to be QB2, and you're going to be the guy for us in 2027. That is remarkable how you can negotiate in this day and age 2 quarterbacks that have starting experience in Power 4 schools, one in the ACC and obviously SEC because LA came Alabama, and one from the SEC and with Bo. You negotiate 2 guys that this is the plan, and one of them's okay to be the backup this year because he knows he can start next year. That is really good for Virginia because in the last 4 years they always needed the backup at some point. So you have a very good backup experience. So I think in that regard, I think they definitely upgrade their talent because Daniel Kalen, although a talented quarterback, he came to Virginia with no college game experience. He was a redshirt freshman. He didn't play in Nebraska. So now you have 2 quarterbacks that have game experience. I mean, Virginia played against Eli Hosting at Pitt 2 years ago. So I think that was really key for them is getting that experience in that big of a position. Then obviously what they did was the biggest wins wasn't even in the portal. It was retaining guys. You look at the O-line and what they were able to accomplish. Most of their starting guys are back. And then they just got guys that, like Alex Payne from USC, a former 4-star recruit, that have 4 years of eligibility left. So they continue to build that depth. And then the positions that they need, like the edge guys, and replacing, Jameer Carter and Jacob Holmes and Hunter Osborne interior-wise, they really bolstered that defensive line because that's what won them last year was getting that depth in the trenches. And then having a good quarterback that can lead you, having that personality to lead you, having that dual threat. Because when Chandler Morris was able to run, that's when Virginia's offense played its best. When Chandler Morris couldn't run the ball due to injuries and other factors, that's when the offense didn't really hit on all cylinders. So you got quarterbacks are able to do that. You've got the guys in the trenches. So Virginia attacked the transfer portal really well, and they did it in a way where they still have spots on that roster if they need to fill it after spring.
Jacquie Franciulli joining us here on the Fast Lane. Last question for you, Jacquie, before we head to VT women's basketball. We've watched guys like Cam Courtney who did go to the portal and then came back. Portal window is closed, but you got guys like Davis Lane and Eli Wood, Lynchburg natives, who still haven't signed. Could they theoretically come back if UVA welcomes them with open arms, or is that time past?
I mean, any player that goes into the portal can withdraw their name, and it's not guaranteed that the school will say like open arms. I believe Eli Wood, the last time I checked, is connected to going to Utah State, Bronco Mendenhall's former program. I don't know about Davis Lane, but the good thing about a guy like Davis Lane, he is actually something called a designated student athlete, so they wouldn't affect the roster number that Virginia needs to keep at 105. So technically, Virginia doesn't have that 105 number limited to him if he chooses to come back, and if Virginia says yes, you can come back. So that's something that's new this year with the House settlement. Is although there's that 105 number, Virginia has a few DSAs that they can go over the limit. So there are a couple of guys that, like Davis Lane, that is able to do that. But yeah, this is a very interesting time because I know there's a lot of confusion with the portal because they say, well, that's it. Like, we don't expect anybody else. Well, no, there's still guys in the portal and they can still visit currently. Just no one new can go into the portal except if you're a Miami player in Indiana. And they can still add guys post-spring, which is what I expect Virginia to do if once they look at what they have after spring practice and say, actually, we need another tight end or we might need another D end.
Well, you know what we're going to need? Another segment with Jacquie Franciulli one day here on the Fast Lane, bringing all the great insight for UVA sports. I'm ready for baseball season under Chris Pollard in his first season. If it's anything like Ryan Odom's first season and the magical season that Tony Elliott had in his fourth year at UVA, I'm excited for UVA sports.
It's been a really good year for UVA sport, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. It's been great. Thank you, Jacquie, for joining us, and we'll see you real soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
And that's all for us. Now on to Lady Hokies basketball in progress.
Have a jammed-packed Tech Shoot-Around pregame show. Tip-off comes your way at 6:02. Until then, we'll tell you how Virginia Tech can win its fourth ACC game in a row, what they must do